The manhwa begins on a silent night, devoid of any sound, no dogs barking, no insects chirping, and no murmurs from people. In the midst of this stillness, a young boy stood, covered in bruises, his eyes devoid of emotion. A tall man with blonde hair, holding boxing gloves, approached the boy. Observing his condition, the man inquired whether the hardships of the world had crushed his spirit. He then advised the boy to remember something deeply, stating that all the stars in the sky shone for him. Before parting, he assured the boy that they would meet again when both had grown stronger. Many years later, the scene shifted to a man training intensely, his dedication evident. However, he paused upon noticing a figure standing beside the gym coach. It was none other than the legendary boxing trainer, Mr. K, a man who had produced 5 world champions and was now searching for his final student before retirement. Mr. K observed a match in the ring with great interest. A young fighter with white hair moved with remarkable grace, effortlessly blocking an incoming punch and countering with a direct hit to his opponent's face. His movements were sharp and precise, dodging with expert skill and ultimately knocking out his opponent without taking a single hit himself. It was soon revealed that his name was Ryu Beck, and despite having trained at the gym for only 2 weeks, his progress was astonishing. Impressed by Ryu's abilities, Mr. K requested the gym trainer to match him against the strongest fighter in the gym to gauge his true potential. Soon after, a worker called out for Cheol, the gym's most formidable fighter. The gym owner, concerned about the weight difference, reminded Mr. K that Cheol was ranked 3rd in the super middleweight division. However, when informed of the situation, Cheol agreed to the match, though he was advised to go easy on Ryu since he was still a beginner. Before the fight, Cheol noticed that Ryu was not wearing headgear and asked if he would be fine. In response, Ryu, displaying arrogance, remarked that headgear would only flatten his hair. Irritated by the remark, Cheol sarcastically promised to tidy up Ryu's hairstyle for him. As the 2 fighters touched gloves, the entire gym watched with anticipation. Mr. K observed closely, his interest piqued. The match began, and to everyone's surprise, Ryu lowered his guard completely. The spectators grew concerned, urging him to raise his defenses. The gym master, however, recognized something unusual and recalled the day he first met Ryu. Returning to the present, Ryu reflected on his perspective of boxing, likening it to a dance in rhythm, a sense of freedom. As Cheol threw a punch, Ryu dodged effortlessly and delivered a jab straight to his face, stunning the audience. Mr. K analyzed the fight, realizing that Ryu was deliberately provoking his opponent by dropping his guard, waiting for the perfect opportunity to counter. However, he also acknowledged that the gap between amateurs and professionals was not something that could be bridged by mere talent alone. Cheol, angered, launched a flurry of aggressive punches, but Ryu evaded each one with remarkable agility. Ryu's movements were so fluid and natural that even Cheol was left in shock. No one had ever remained standing after taking one of his punches head-on. Recognizing Ryu's skill, Cheol admitted that his arrogance might not have been unfounded. However, he decided to fight seriously and unleashed a series of rapid, powerful strikes. Yet, Ryu dodged every single attack and countered with a decisive uppercut. Cheol soon realized he could not keep up. He continued to take hits while Ryu displayed incredible bounce and flexibility, performing seemingly impossible movements. Mr. K, watching intently, reflected that it had been a long time since he had seen such raw talent. Though Ryu still lacked experience, his athletic abilities were extraordinary, almost as if they had been gifted to him by the heavens. Despite his overwhelming talent, Ryu was eventually cornered and knocked out. Cheol emerged victorious, yet it was clear to everyone that if the fight had taken place outside the ring, the outcome might have been different. Later, as Mr. K and the gym master discussed Ryu's potential, the gym master inquired about Mr. K's thoughts on the boy. Mr. K responded that Ryu had the potential to become a legendary boxer. He possessed an innate talent, exceptional physical ability, and an instinct for the sport that could be honed even further. As they spoke, something outside the gym window caught their attention. A group of boys was bullying another boy. Enraged, the gym master prepared to intervene, but Mr. K told him to wait. There was something strange about the boy being bullied. his face showed no expression, even as he was being hit. He neither flinched nor reacted in any way. Curious, Mr. K approached the boy while the gym master reprimanded the bullies and made them apologize. Mr. K then asked the boy why he had not dodged the attacks when it was clear he could have. The boy simply replied that it was bothersome. Surprised by the response, Mr. K observed him carefully. As the boy turned to leave, Mr. K decided to test his instincts. Without warning, he threw a punch directly at the boy's face. The boy effortlessly dodged it. Intrigued, Mr. K asked if he wanted to learn boxing. The boy, however, responded with a question of his own. Was it fun to hit people? Mr. K, reflecting on human nature, realized that the boy lacked the basic fighting spirit, the natural desire for dominance or control. He was the complete opposite of Ryu, the fighter he had observed earlier that morning. Dismissing the question as foolish, Mr. K stated that, of course, hitting people was fun. He elaborated that humans were weak creatures who sought validation for their existence. In that sense, there was no simpler way to assert superiority than through their fists. He then told the boy that if he had wings, he should fly as high as possible, even if the sun burned them off. That was the essence of living. Before leaving, Mr. K demonstrated a basic 1-2 punch and informed the boy that he would remain at the gym for only a month. He invited him to join anytime he changed his mind about learning boxing. The scene then shifted to a classroom where the same boy sat in silence. Next to him, another student named Injay was being bullied by his classmates. The bullies ordered Injay to lift the chair higher, and as the camera panned upward, it was revealed that the boy sitting on him was none other than Ryu-san. Later, Injay and the quiet boy sat together, both labeled as weak in their class, while Ryu and his gang were considered the strong. The gang ordered the boy to greet them properly, but they simply walked past him and approached Injay instead. They taunted him, claiming they would be bored without him during lunch break. Injay's face reflected his reluctance, yet he was too afraid to resist. During lunch, Ryu's gang tormented Injay, forcing him to eat leftovers mixed with worms. One of them even dropped a half-eaten candy into his bowl. Trembling and on the verge of tears, Injay obeyed, swallowing it down. Unable to hold it in, he vomited after the meal. Later, as others played outside, Injay and the quiet boy, whose name was revealed to be Yu, sat on the sidelines. When asked if he wanted to join, Yu replied that he had no interest in such games. Injay, relating to him, agreed. When Yu asked Injay about his dreams, Injay smiled and expressed his desire to become like his father. He then invited Yu to his house to play a new game he had bought. However, Ryu overheard their conversation and, enraged, kicked a ball straight at Injay's face. Before it could hit, Yu reacted with lightning-fast reflexes and caught it. Furious, Ryu approached Yu and slapped him, dismissing the incident as a prank, while warning him not to interfere again. Despite the slap, Yu remained expressionless, while Injay trembled in fear. That night, Injay trained alone, determined to put an end to his suffering. But every time he thought of Ryu, his body trembled in fear. Frustrated, he cursed himself for his weakness. Thanks for watching, part 2 coming soon. I am not sure about my editing, so please leave a comment, so I can improve.